The most creative architects of the world are probably underrated due to the disasters they leave behind their work to display its results. Yes, we are going to talk about volcanoes, but that is the only one side of the story. The long history of volcanoes shows they molded about 80% of the living areas of Earth as we know it today. And besides the shape, they also sparkled life behind them. But how is it possible that such a huge mass of fire, rocks and gases can spark life? That would be the main question of people living close to volcanoes that erupt, and those who in one way or another have been able to witness closely the fury of one of them. That impression could make them call this phenomenon as volcanoes. Such a contradiction of destruction and spark of life is what we will be talking about. To be able to find if this is true, we will have to navigate through the main aspects that create and develop a volcano until it explodes. A volcano is an opening on the surface of a planet that works as a channel to expel hot materials from its interior to create the effect of an eruption. The upper part is called the mouth or crater and the sides are called flanks. Although we mostly see them as mountains, such a form is made after it erupts and creates a hill that accumulates tons of material around the area of expulsion and keeps growing as the volcano keeps expelling lava and materials. The creation of a volcano is related to tectonic plates located right below the surface of the planet. They are a part of the lithosphere and are always moving and adjusting their position although we cannot feel it. However, there are two major activities and movements that create a volcano. First, when tectonic plates crash into one another, one of them goes deep down below the other until reaching an area called subduction zone. At that point, the temperature and pressure increase until making rocks to release water. That eventually makes other rocks to reach a melting point that becomes magma. Magma is just a rock that reaches such a high temperature that it turns into liquid that desperately tries to find its way out to the surface. When it does and starts erupting, we call it lava. One example of this type of volcanoes are those in Indonesia. They also dominate the landscape of that territory and might represent how planet Earth looked million years ago with volcanoes everywhere. Second, a tectonic plate may have a hotspot of magmatic activity without having to go down. Right from that point, it starts pushing the magma up to go through the crust to create a volcano. Frequently, this phenomenon repeats while the tectonic plates keep moving. As a result, the phenomenon gets reproduced with different hotspots that create lines of volcanoes. Although magma, called lava when it reaches the surface, is the main material expelled by volcanoes. It is not the only one. Firstly, magma collects other materials on its way up, such as solid rocks, sand, water and any other material inside the earth. The result is a potent mud flow called lahars. It is a dense, super hot and travels at high speed all its way down from the volcano's mouth and destroys everything it finds. Besides the materials, the temperature and mixture, all of these elements develop toxic gases and tons of ash. Although all the volcanoes expel the same materials, they certainly don't do it with the same fury. The fury of a volcano is mostly related to the chemical composition that takes part in the creation of the lava and the pressure of the gases. When we see the most explosive eruptions, the molten rock has more pressure by trying to trap the gases, and the accumulation of such pressure produces a huge explosion. There, the lava is very viscous and heavy. On the other hand, when we see effusive eruptions with less viscous lava, it is because the magma allows gases to flow and escape more easily. However, both types of eruptions continue to be pretty strong for any human being. In the end, jokes about someone being mad as an erupting volcano refer to both of them. Volcanoes are mostly located in the Ring of Fire. This area is also known as the Circum-Pacific Belt because it is located around this ocean. Its length is about 40,000 kilometers and 75%, about 450, are active. Some countries, like Indonesia, are constantly under the risk of getting surprised by an eruption. There were at least 3 eruptions in that country in 2020, and in 2021, recently got one from the Monte Semelu volcano that is making people run away. In that area are also the Hawaiian Islands, with active volcanoes that attract millions of tourists every year. You can even enjoy helicopter trips to enjoy the views. In 2021, also brought the eruption of the volcano in La Palma Island, and many tourists went crazy to that destination to witness it in the front line. As you can see, volcanoes have also a gentle effect to attract tourists to some areas. The fact that they are active does not necessarily mean that they are actively destroying everything around them. But not all the volcanoes are active. Some of them are already inactive and others are dormant. It means they can erupt at any time without notice. We will start by talking about the lava and the mud flow. We can see it turns all the way down through vast territories. Commonly, it creates several channels through several flanks to run down and can reach the ocean where it finally stops. All the materials that accumulate over the surface have amazing characteristics. This is exactly what is happening now with the eruption of the volcano Cumbre Vieja in La Palma Island of Spain. They can see how the volcano, now active, is expelling lava and other materials, and some of them are reaching the ocean. But La Palma is a volcanic island that has been getting agricultural benefits for many years due to the unique composition of the soil that comes from volcanoes. This island and many other territories are getting the following resources in the lava: nutrients with plenty silica and oxygen and other elements such as sulfur dioxide and hydrogen chloride. Rocks with high amounts of magnesium, potassium and iron, all of which are rich natural fertilizers for the land. As a result, lands increase their fertility, and sometimes those that were not fertile suddenly turn fertile or recover their fertility. Another remarkable aspect is that all these elements are released in different portions during the time. For instance, studies have found that the materials break down close to the area of volcano Mount Vesuvius in Italy. There, the soil is fertile and with plenty of nutrients. Yes, science is always going ahead and is now able to use young volcanic systems to produce geothermal energy. However, we are still waiting to see how it will work. In addition, precious minerals such as gold, silver, zinc or copper seem to be related to the lava expelled by volcanoes. And finally, the lava can provoke the expansion of some territories, just as they formed them in the past. Volcanoes can expand them by reaching the ocean and filling them up with mud flow that solidifying become new land. Scientists and volcanologists have not been able to find a way to predict an eruption. Although the inside is full of magma and pressure, it might take many years to explode. What is my analysis? Despite the horror that can bring the eruption of a volcano, the humanity has learned to prevent bigger disasters by moving out as they start erupting. It doesn't matter how people feel about volcanoes, because their activities are out of control for scientists and volcanologists. Many aspects are out of control, and the only way to deal with volcanoes is by mitigating the consequences and leveraging the materials they expel. The lava expelled by volcanoes can be a partial solution to recover the fertility of many soils around the world. Some agricultural practices can erode the land, and the benefits of volcanoes can mitigate that. Volcanoes can be ambivalent and bring disasters and benefits. However, the humanity has the capacity to reduce the risks and minimize the negative aspects. Volcanoes are a magnificent source of life, and that should not impress us, because all of it comes from the center of the planet that is full of sources of life. And you, what do you think of volcanoes? Thank you for following this video and see you soon on this same channel to continue learning what surrounds us.